Test, 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 and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, okay. Test, 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 test.
Hello, hello everyone. We are about to get started, so please grab a seat. We will start in a few minutes, just waiting for the live stream to start. And who is here for the first time? Okay, welcome everyone and welcome the regular. Yes, I'm about to start. Just a few more seconds. Are we good? Simon. Wait. Are we good? Okay. Yeah, the girl is... Can you just go this way? This is like the backdrop. Yeah. All right, so let's kick off the night. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Alison, and I'm part of the AI user group. The AI user group is a community of professionals, and we try to bring people together to test, try, and learn new tools around AI. Tonight is the 26th edition of the AI for Marketers, so it's been a while. And what we like is to gather people together. So thank you for being here and growing network of professionals eager to learn new tools. We have a great lineup tonight of 3 speakers, and then we'll have an open mic session where you will be able to take the mic and talk about your project or if you have something to share. And then we have a mingling part with pizza. Before starting, I would like to talk a little bit more about this space where we host our events. It's called the Digital Jungle SF. And if ever you have a project, please come talk to me at the end of the session because we love to organize cool events with top-notch technology, as you can see. Great screens, great digital signage, and we have 2 podcast studios. So please come talk to me. Tonight, it's all about how to turn ideas into action. So let's jump right away into the program of the night. First of all, if you want to be here tonight and talk, we are always looking for new speakers. If you're a startup founder or part of a big company or even a small company, you want to share your best practices around AI, just come talk to me. All right, a little guideline house. We will close at 8:50, so just keep that in mind. So the agenda for today, first of all, okay, the order is not so good, but we will start with Rajiv Parikh. He will talk about agents to insights, how agentic AI transform marketing. Then we will have Amish Patel. He will talk about ConceptCraft, and I've seen a demo. It's pretty interesting to how to turn ideas into reality in minutes. And then we'll have Chen. He will talk about Soleda, his product, Instruction to Insight, designing AI that understand marketing intent. All right, let's start with Rajiv and give him a warm round of applause.
Well, thank you, Allison. Great to see all of you here today. We have an amazing crowd. Love speaking to fellow marketers. So can I ask how many of you are growth marketers? Say hi, yes. How many of you work in other forms of marketing, like content marketing or branding? Awesome. How many of you are not in marketing and just want to figure out what we're doing in marketing? Oh, not in marketing? Okay, that's cool. All right, well, let's, maybe AI, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go quickly, I'm going to try to go quickly through my presentation because I'd love to get questions. And the perspective I'm going to talk to you from is I'm the co-founder of Position Squared. I started the company back in 2005. So I've been there for a while. And after working at a whole bunch of high-tech companies and medical device companies, either working in large ones or starting them, I fell in love with what you could do with Google back in the day, and started this with the notion of taking an engineering approach to marketing and then connecting, then building a team based in Bangalore so that we can offer more services, more capabilities than any other marketing firm could do. So that's kind of how we started. And then over the years, as our clients grew, we've worked with folks like AWS, LinkedIn, American Express, Lenovo, many of our clients started off as early stage startups, and then we grew with them or helped them grow, and then eventually they got acquired by these firms. We built up a whole set of different services, more than running Google search. So there's Google search, there's Facebook and Meta and programmatic, so our team is really great there. As we went along, a lot of folks said, hey, I need content, I need great creative, I need to go faster, so we built up a whole creative team. And then over time, we built up a MarTech team that runs, started off with Marketo, if you can remember, Eloqua, and now HubSpot and Pardot. So I have teams that work across all these areas. And as we went along, we needed to build up capabilities that could help us retain knowledge, help our clients retain knowledge about what they're doing. As you know, marketers are, especially marketing executives, have probably the lowest tenure of any C-suite job, right? Usually it's about, 18 months or so. So it's really important to capture data and to capture best practices because you don't want your talent leaving the room or your client's talent leaving the room and leaving you out in the lurch. So we built up a lot of systems around it. So what we've built over time is, we do content for Lenovo and we run campaigns for American Express, and it's great to do all that, but we know that with what's happening with AI, there's just so much going on, and we're all wondering as marketers, is this going to wipe us out? Is it an application that's going to take us away, or are we going to lead the change? And so I'm going to talk about this capability called Campaign Copilot, right? And this is to address a lot of the issues that you have in go-to-market. There's 4 major ones, but there's so many that I'm sure you guys could bring up as well. Big problem. Poor ICP alignment, poor ideal customer profile alignment, and buyer journey orchestration. That's a huge issue with so many companies. If you're from the B2B world, you'll be blown away that only 2% of your marketing leads actually turn into sales. 2%. And if you're on the sales side, it's really interesting to note that only 14% of the salespeople actually bring in 80% of the business. And fully 80% of salespeople don't even hit their numbers. No wonder they're really pissed at us in marketing, right? No wonder they're all over us about shitty leads. So that's a huge issue that happens from a buyer orchestration point of view. Why is that? Well, we have all this, we love building up these big tech stacks, right? There's some 8,000, 9,000 of them. And while you're working with all of them, how do you integrate them together? How do you deal with your marketing automation system, sales automation system, sales outreach system, your event planning system? It's all over the place. You have fragmented insights. I know a lot of you as marketers probably spend a ton of time just gathering data and putting it together, and you basically have enough time to do that. And then when someone says, well, what's driving performance? How do I get my attribution right? You don't have good answers for it. And then marketing's always, especially now, under pressure because you have to hit performance numbers. I don't know if you guys know, but many companies, especially B2B tech companies or software companies, spend 4x their annual recurring revenue, their ARR, on sales and marketing. And even then, they're not hitting their performance numbers, right? The better companies are around 1x. But that's not a very profitable company unless you're really growing and scaling. And so with AI, there's a lot of pressure coming to marketers, right? Of that budget, about 30% is allocated towards marketing, and B2B, about 70% usually goes towards salespeople. If you're selling more of a digital product or more of a product that is product-led growth driven, then it's the other way. So my team, as part of driving campaigns for folks, we call what we do growth ops, right? And so whether for engagement and acquisition signals, we use a whole bunch of different AI and non-AI platforms, whether it's Sixth Sense or Optimizer, or SEMrush or SEMrush, so many different platforms. For actual revenue acceleration, we're using a whole bunch of other tools to do that. And so that becomes our team's daily life. In fact, one of the things I've done, we have about 150 people in the company, it's just to say to folks, hey, whatever you need to build, whatever you need to do, go play with those tools. And then my engineering team will figure out amongst what you're doing, what we should integrate. But imagine if you're on your own and you're told to work with all these things, how are you going to deal with it? So we've envisioned this offering called the Campaign Copilot. And this is part of, we don't think we think that as marketers, you need to spend more time on doing strategy and making sure execution works well, making sure you're measuring all of it. And so we've broken up that capability into these three areas. So there's strategy, doing the research and analysis, understanding my buyer personas, understanding how to communicate. There's actually building the campaign and running it, which is really where most of your time is spent. Developing content, personalizing the content, and executing it. And then there's analytics, right? Which is where you're measuring performance. You're bringing it back to your executive saying, here's how all these investments are actually performing. So, and the way we've built this is we're focusing it on the industries that we're really good at. We know there's going to be there's so much investment out there. There's so many companies out there that are getting big slugs of money. We've been more, really, we use our revenue to fund our growth. And so we're focusing on AI and SaaS. We have strength in fintech. We are in cybersecurity and multi-location health. And that allows us to focus various industry data sources, various competitive sources, and pull that into our system. So how does it all work for those who raise their hand in the end that are probably more the engineering types? It's basically, if you look at, we take our insights and our best practices, which is right here, and in our playbooks that we've built over time, and put that into what we call a growth language model, or GLM. We use the structures that are in Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude. My team uses a whole variety of different technologies based on what they need and based on whether it's using structured or unstructured data. And then for our clients, we create specific language models or small language models for each one, which has their brand, their campaigns, their competitors, and their industry, so that each industry and each client has its own data within it. And I'll show you a little bit how it works. But basically, we have data from the web, we have generalized data from all these AI engines, and then we take it down from the industry specific to the client. And then we have our team who are full of subject matter experts feed back into it so that we keep improving the system. So let me give you some examples, and I'll just jump directly to a demo. This is what we call Arena, and I'll just show you. There's a lot here on the screen, and it looks all right. So basically, this is the task screen. So every time a client does any work with us, our team will load a task within it. And that will come from a template that we already have or a workflow that we already have. And we can do pretty straightforward stuff. This is modeled after Monday.com, where, and I'll put on my glasses so I can see better. But if I want to group it, or if I want to filter it, I can say, hey, you know what's open, what's in progress. I can basically look at within various categories for my client. I can look at, what's the task, what's the due date, et cetera. So this one, pull keyword data for appointments. It has all the conversations related to that task and when it's supposed to be done. And you're like, well, that's cool, that's a project management system. But that's all keyed off of an overall project plan, and it help. And the way we do it is we keep improving upon it. We have checklists and all that sort of stuff to make sure that we stay consistent with our client. You're like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Where's the AI in that? Well, we're getting there. So if I go to the Calibrate, this is one of the capabilities we built. We were so tired of clients getting upset with us about it taking 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get all the data together that we decided to build a BI capability that has marketing and sales templates and dashboards built in, and the ability to connect to up to 100 different systems. So you could be your HubSpot, your Marketo, your Salesforce system, and then many times we have clients that just have their own CRM system and their own, or in the case of healthcare, their own practice management system. So the case I'm using is a company called Inspire Aesthetics, which is plastic surgery, which apparently does pretty well in the summers, right? So for them, they really care about how we drive advertising performance. So for them, they have a funnel. You can visualize the funnel and see how it leads to patients. And really what we're looking to do is understand what drives performance. So here you can see how many calls we drove, how many forms were filled out, how many total conversions, and this is for the month of May. We can help you understand revenue. And you're like, okay, this looks like a dashboard. I've seen these dashboards before, how I get to appointments. But what's cool about it is we've automated this environment such that instead of taking a few months, this takes a couple weeks. And this is even with a system, in their system, where it's a non-standard, non-API driven CRM system, right? Average conversion time, how long does it take for them to drive to revenue? So that's kind of cool, right? That's something that there's some AI capability to that. Let's take it another step. Say the client then says, hey, I want you to go out and look up, get me a creative headline, or so that my team has built a whole bunch of agents and prompts for each kind of thing. So craft a value proposition. My marketing automation team, some prosaic things like, amongst this data, look for company names. The paid search team, which is looking at generate Facebook ad headlines with the sales team. A sales battle card, right? Strategy, which is one of my favorite areas to look, build me a buyer journey. So basically you can go in and look at things like, okay, so I need a buyer journey for a pitch. So for this one, I go to reputation.com. I just type in buyer journey, I put in the name, and it basically builds out a set of responses with insights, the background, market trend, right? It gives you what our team would think they need to do a good job. It even tells you who the competitors are, how they are likely to compare against the competitors based on what the system is finding, what our AI is finding throughout its own analysis of it, or based on what we fed it. Some other fun stuff, like here's this company, Shippo. It's part of a company called Octane that combines, like if you remember stamps.com, right? Shippo is one of them. And so very quickly you can understand, you can speed up the strategy cycle for getting information together. Here's one of our clients, Samba Nova, build me a sales battle card, like how would I talk to them if I were to pitch them, and same thing, how would my clients pitch to others? So who's the CEO? What are their products? Who are their main competitors? How would I position them? The channels, et cetera. So and I'll make it a little bigger so you can see it. So there's just a whole bunch of data that our team can use to quickly move to insight so they can iterate and then drive that to action. A little bit more I want to show you. So let's see, there's one company that's really cool. It's called Medi Weight Loss. And one of the things we're building is we're building these agents for it. And let me just see if I could show you this. So if you go to the section that talks about agents, our team has built a keyword research agent where you go in and our team usually takes about a week to build the initial set of keywords to run a paid search campaign. And so that time has now been compressed from 5 days to like 2 hours because it'll produce a whole bunch of information, but then it'll let you get to the last two. Or in the last couple hours is where the human has to improve it. One of the fun ones I want to show off is company analysis. So in this one, you put in the company name, you put in their country, you put in their URL, and basically it basically generates a full analysis of the company, right? And so this will take a little time to run, so I've already done it for you. But this is an agent that's checking amongst multiple systems, is checking through who we think our competitors are, how we would normally score them in their industry, and then it produces an output like this. So Medi Weight Loss operates as a business to consumer company. What's really unique about them is it's physician-led as part of their program. It's not just like Jenny Craig where you go out and they check a couple things about you and then they give you diets and exercise to do. They actually have doctors that take a look at what you're doing, prescribe the right medications, prescribe the weight loss program. It tells you how much it costs. It goes in and actually constructs who your target market is. If you're a marketer, you create a buyer persona. Here's Sarah Thompson, 35, marketing manager, and tells you all about the company from all these different sources, PitchBook, LeadIQ, et cetera. So, and then from that, you can then understand the company, its industry, and from that, you can also understand who their competitors are. You can see a whole bunch of competitors here, and really build a whole plan for it. Now, based on this, usually what we do is we then go and sit with a client. We then have a workshop with them. And then from there, we look at how we build our campaign plans. And that's usually part of that process, using these types of tools to build that campaign, right? So that's a sense of how we do these agents. And the ones that are upcoming, here's a really cool one. If you're into running all kinds of campaign data, so from that company, Inspire Aesthetics, here's something that we're about to come out with. And this is an AI dashboard that essentially is, of course, agent-led. And here's a bunch of questions you could ask, right? Show me the last, looks like I got something on. Last 7 days performance, comparing 1 month, this week to last week. Why don't we do something like provide predictive analytics for May, June, July, and August? So this is something I've been pushing my team for forever, which is, hey, when we first take on a client, we give them a 1-year projection. And then after that, we kind of give them a month or two at a time, and it's toward the end of the month, and because it takes a lot of work, right? And then you're putting a stake in the ground about, I'm gonna have to hit this number. So I want it to be more systematic, more system-driven, so that we can do much deeper analysis. So for example, we could put in this provide predictive analysis for May, June, click a button, and using various models that our team considers useful, and it's using the LSTM neural prediction model, it'll give you a 4-month forecast, right? It'll tell you the projected ROAS, which is, we want to be above 3 for this particular client. It's projected above 3. We give you the revenue projections. Note that it peaks in the middle of summer, and they're on August. A lot of folks go on vacation, so there's seasonality built into it. Here's your likely spend and the revenue that we're likely to hit. It gives you a month-by-month breakdown. It even tells you what model you're using and how that model works. It gives you insights on your business for it, and then it even gives you industry insights. So for example, body treatments peak 3 to 4 months before summer, facial treatments remain consistent year round, right? So things like that that help you better understand. So, and if you're a real geek and you're not satisfied with that model, we can compare, right? So there's other models that we can pick from and play with it and compare those. So really, I just wanted to give you a sense of how all this works and how this is flowing. And really, at this point, I'd like to take your questions.
Any question? Yes, I'm giving you the mic. Do you mind passing me along? Thank you.
Hi, great presentation. I guess, so I worked at Oracle, and we've used a number of CRM systems and built our own. Then you have Salesforce, you have HubSpot,
Yeah.
you have Marketo, you have Eloqua, you have all these. How does this work with all these CRM systems? If I'm a marketing person, I'm deciding what tools I need to do my job. I mean, it's amazing, the insights. And I guess it's a twofold question. One is kind of big picture, like how are you pitching this to companies that already have a CRM system or CX? And secondly, how does the internal data versus big data get merged? You know, you have a lot of.
So we are not replacing. So when I showed you all those different tools, we are not replacing those tools. We are working with them.
Gotcha.
So what you've chosen a marketing automation system, we'll work with it. You've chosen your CRM system, we'll work with it. We know that the bigger the company, the more complex it is. And so the mapping time may take longer. So everyone has custom definitions. So part of pulling that into the system is understanding those custom definitions. But one of the benefits of the way we've built this is we take what usually can be, even for mid-sized companies, 6 months of time, and brought it down to a couple months, because we know generally what data we want. Now, there may still be messy data and cleansing to do, but we will use various tools to do that. We will not invent it ourselves. Think of this as more orchestration and best practice as opposed to that. So then when you get to the question about big data, we are using Snowflake for our data warehouse. So we love the speed, the performance, the ability to do zero copy, the ability to work across multiple systems without having to, without necessarily having to have, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but the idea of this is I can have data in another system. If you give me permission for it, I don't actually have to read the person's name. I can just extract the right data elements from it. So that's the nice part about those types of systems. And then we use connectors, open source connectors to connect all that together and then to make it all work.
Great, thanks for the answer. Just a scenario.
Yeah.
So what you mentioned it, the biggest challenge. You finished a campaign, you had 20 different teams involved. Some made an ebook, some did an analyst report, some did YouTube videos, some did, advertising, paid advertising, organic, social, and then at the end, you almost get into a competition with all your colleagues showing what great results you got and who influenced sales the most. So is that something this will be able to help with?
Yeah, great point. I mean, that is the issue, right? Especially in bigger companies. A lot of times the argument is marketing adding any value? And at least from what I'm hearing from my CMO friends, the kiss of death is when one of the big problems in being a CMO is that instead of looking at the company strategically, you're asked to source leads, and then you're competing against salespeople and other groups who's sourcing it. So really it should be about driving pipeline, where the marketer and the sales team go hand in hand and say, how are we driving pipeline? And then you have to create the appropriate scoring system for weighting both. So the answer to your question dramatically varies by industry. So we'll end up doing data science projects with clients where we're trying to say, well, to what extent did TV drive my search results? And you know how you do the whole data-driven analysis for it. So that's a constant game. And so part of this is to make that process faster and apply different algorithms to it. But in the end, it's going to be a discussion between teams and a joint decision.
Great, thanks.
Hello. So firstly, it's amazing that you're around since 2005. So you have been through a lot of tech hype cycles, right? Like, but AI or the LLM revolution has been around since like 2-3 years. So it's not really a question, but if I were to truly ask you, like, what aspects did AI truly revolutionize in your product? Like, if I give me like a couple of specific examples where you have seen like game-changing value because of LLM revolution that has happened.
Yeah, I have been through a lot of different cycles, right? I grew up in the mini computer age and then worked in the PC age, and I've seen, client server, mobile. This is the fastest thing I've ever seen in terms of the transition and the shift to mass adoption. And I think for marketers, it's a fundamental thing. Like if you aren't in the game, if you aren't in this game, you will lose your job, right? So for us, in my firm, it's either change or die. And I think it's like we're already seeing 40 to 50% improvements in productivity, but I don't think productivity is the real game in this. It's really the ability to drive greater insight. So with LLMs, especially tuned for the right industry and creative approaches, we can come up with ideas faster. We can iterate with them faster. We can test them faster. We can go more deeply, and we can personalize more effectively. I think that's what I find the most exciting and interesting. The other part that's interesting is that I don't need a team of 100 engineers or 200 engineers to build this. I can build this with a rather modest-sized team and get answers very quickly. I can self-fund this. So that's the part that's truly exciting for me as an entrepreneur. And it's just, I'm enjoying this. I'm learning so much from it. I'm running scared, but I'm running. And I'm fortunate my team is willing to run with me because they are innovating every single day. In February of 2024, I asked the team, what are you doing with AI? And as part of our quarterly review, and they came back with just an incredible set of tools that they're all experimenting with. And so it was I gave myself a pat on the back. I'm like, I'm so glad we created the kind of culture where people are unafraid to play. Because that's the only way we'll win.
Nice, thanks.
All right, thank you, Rajiv. Let's give him a warm round of applause. It was a very genuine presentation. Thank you. Now we will host Amish, CEO of ConceptCraft. Let's give him a warm welcome. Sorry. Yeah. Just plug it. Do you need some?
No, it's all good. Awesome. We're all set. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking time to attend this event. My name is Amish. I'm the founder of ConceptCraft. The background about ConceptCraft is last decade, we have been building products and apps and websites for companies ranging from, healthcare, fintech, and the company that basically did that was a development agency that I have currently also. And we have built lots and lots and lots of products all the way from small businesses to some part of some unicorns, multi-billion-dollar company, research innovation orgs. And the common problem that we saw across that was there was a lot of effort and money that was being wasted on not figuring out what you are actually trying to build, right? There is a lot of research that kind of has to go in figuring out what you need to build. And a lot of entrepreneurs that come to us had this issue where like they wanted to build something, but they had not researched about how to go to sell, what is the strategy, all of that stuff. And so ConceptCraft was kind of born from that with the advent of AI, as to like there has to be a better way of doing, making products faster and, as we say, like failing fast. If you want to fail fast, the fact is that you need to understand what are the things that make it fail fast so that you kind of adapt and also go and fix them, and you have more time to do that. So ConceptCraft was born from that. We have this is what you're going to show. We're going to see today is the unveiling of our brand new platform that we have. The current platform that we have, it's used by customers that are paying customers, and it's used across US, UK, a lot of other countries. And what it was an attempt to build your products faster. And we learned a lot from that experience. And what we have done as part of that is taken all of that feedback and built it into a product that that you're going to see today. So let's, without much ado, let's just jump into it. When you come in here on ConceptCraft, you can start building your business ideas, or you can browse different ideas that people have either submitted or analyzed and submitted. And you can look at the details of those ideas as well. You can publish your ideas also if you want, but you can browse around and see what you get excited about. You will also see that all these ideas, some of them are targeted in Brazil, some of them in India, some of them in US. So you can pretty much pick any target geography that you are based on, and the platform is smart enough to figure out the nuances of what you need to do and how you need to do to make it happen. So as I said, this is the main landing page. You can come in and you can start putting your idea in. I put a couple of ideas in here. Maybe we can start, I don't know, if anybody has one of these two options. This one is a parallel life simulator. See how your life would be unfolded if you decided to make different decisions. Or, using AI, decision fatigue reducer, make small daily decisions for what you wear, eat, all of that stuff based on some AI. Again, concept could be anything, right? Like it could be anything that you either saw as a pain point, whether you're an expert or not. This will help you get started into the thing. You can also submit the idea just like, hey, I saw something, I wish somebody had built something for this, right? You don't need to really go and kind of build it. But if you wanted to build your idea, you could click this button and get started. So let's start doing that. So it's kind of like a co-pilot / chatbot interface, right? It's like, okay, I get your idea. Let me help you figure out where you want to build this. And in this case, I'm going to select United States, but you could pick, I want to make it global, I want to make it in a particular geography, and it'll go and figure stuff out. And as this happens, it's basically now going to try to figure out what's available out there, what are the things, and just kind of warm up into like an idea of like, okay, what exactly are you trying to build, right? And so this is where it kind of refines your idea a little bit based on what it found, right? And kind of shapes the stuff. You can read it a little bit here. And if you wanted to make any change, of course, the chatbot interface, you could make any changes. It can stop at any time and resume. And as you pick the idea, after that it kind of goes through and says, okay, what are the platforms you would need to make that happen, right? So in this case, saying like, I could have a mobile application, a web application, you could have kiosk, and you would be like, why kiosk, right? So it's like kind of, boiling the ocean and figuring out what you could possibly want to build. You can also add your custom platform if something is not there. As you can see here, partnerships with lifestyle brands, all that kind of stuff. And let's say you're good with what it suggested, right? You can continue with that, and at which point it kind of lines out thing into something that is easily readable, right? And as you can see here, what your problem statement is, what your solution is, roughly your target market, right? Again, this is very cursory research initially that it's trying to do, right? And trying to frame anything, frame all the information into something that is digestible, right? You can, again, as I said, we can pause, continue, change, ask it to change. You can also manually edit as well. Everything is allowed. Now, here is where you say, okay, I feel good about it. Let's continue, right? So at this point, here is where an interesting thing comes, right? So we have these different templates, right? People say, oh, I want the research done this way, I want the research done this way, I'm looking for these things. Here is where we have templates that are available that you can make also and push it publicly and say, hey, this is my favorite way of doing research, right? So this is the one that's provided by ConceptCraft, but you can pick any one. You can also pick different models from various model providers. In this case, let's pick the default one and continue. At which point now it goes into a complete detailed research analysis of your idea, right? So it gave you a little bit of idea of what it was trying to do, and now it's going to kind of go in, validate a whole bunch of information, and start building actual analysis of what you're trying to build. So let's give it a second here and see what it starts. So as you can see, it started pretty much figuring out what is the problem that your idea solves. And as you can see, these, you can, again, let it go, scroll by, you can continue to work. As you can see here, everything is kind of annotated, right? So you can see where is this research coming from? Where is this customer behavior coming from? If you come here and look at just the highlights piece of it, you can see that there are few market research thing done here. There is target audience it has discovered, right? Again, linked to sources, right? Weaknesses, there is decision fatigue grows. What are the issues? Some people are reporting some things here, some competitors. You can also see all these competitors that are popping up. And, it's trying to answer all these questions, right? So as you can see, it has answered these, but it's continuing to go and find some more answers to the template questions that you had given, right? And again, as I said, it's not only one template. You could do this and then apply the research to another template, another template, another template. It's up to you where you feel satisfied with, the research that it has produced. We allow you all the options. So again, as I said, this takes a minute or so just to go through the whole thing. The whole idea here is that, you get really detailed insight into why you are building this, what are the things that you should build. And at the end, as you will see, it'll also try to tell you what does it think in terms of, whether you should proceed to build it or not, and why, right? And that's the thing I find most fascinating, is because it tells you, hey, maybe your idea is too wide. Maybe your idea is, too focused. You might not have enough money. What is your exact goal? And again, as it's a chatbot interface, you can go in and chat with it and say, hey, can we focus on just this kind of target audience? Or if you have some other tools like Perplexity or some other deep research or a PDF or a slide or something, you just bring it in and say, hey, here is my thing. Can you adjust this stuff, right? Or you can even start at the start. You can also provide it, saying, hey, here is my input. Please go kind of figure out. So as you can see here, it kind of finished the, see here, final assessment of, there are positive factors, there are critical concerns, right? And it's, again, they are lined out. Why does it think, right? So everything is not just hallucinated or anything like that. It's really telling you why you should build or not build. So it's saying, while accelerated development approaches exist, certain elements remain time constrained. Even with potential acceleration strategies, development of a market-ready AI decision assistant typically requires 4 to 6 months with full functionality and reliable personalization requiring 8 to 12 months. And as you can see, here are the things. And let's hope this works, but it hopefully should even highlight the stuff on the page that it pulled the information from. So, again, as I said, it's pretty cool. to see that. And again, as you see, there is lots of highlights here. But I'm like, well, that's too much highlight. I would rather have something that is kind of telling me the overview. So it has built a nice dashboard for you. And you can build again, because the information is very dynamic, right? But depending on the research, you might be finding, so this is not a hard-coded UI, this is built on the go, right? So depending on the information that you should know, it is going to tell you, this is how the UI is built. And depending on different models, your output might be different. Look-wise, quality-wise, things it pulls out, Google is pretty good at pulling out statistics, especially around like reasoning and stuff. So we allow you to build, here you can build with anything and you can just hit play here. So for example, let's hit play here. So it's starting to build that. I could probably hit DeepSeek or I could hit Anthropic, whatever. Like you can go any, and it's building in background, right? You can come back and it'll be there. You can monitor the progress here. You can just go through here, flip between different options, and it'll build that for you. So let's give it a second. This will happen in background, as I said. Let's move on to the next thing. So as you can see here, it kind of gives you some options, quick actions that you can take, right? So let's say you wanted to create a website or create an infographic or create like slides, right? Let's go with maybe infographics or website. I don't know. We can do whatever. Let's see, maybe slides. Let's do slides. So this is going to go figure out a professional slide. And again, as you can see, it thinks, right? It is thinking. And here it's like, hey, would you like to have some templates, based on some template? You might say no. Or in this case, I'm going to probably open up, let's see, one of the neo-brutalism one and give it to it. And of course, just make sure you have the license to use that. You can bring in any URL or you can upload a file, whatever. So here is where now I've submitted it, the template in which format I want the slides to be. And as you can see here, it's going to go start building the presentation. It has research. It's going to also plan. So this is not like one of those things where it's like immediate stuff, but it's fast enough, a couple of minutes, right? Why does it take a couple of minutes? Because it's trying to figure out what are the structure, what are the colors. You'll see once it comes out, hopefully, again, today, morning and afternoon, OpenAI and a bunch of other models went down and up, and so hopefully everything still works, but it's a good time, so I'm praying. But, again, the whole point here is that it's making these things that you don't have to make, right? And this could be, again, the power of this platform is you started with an idea, but, you don't need to go just with idea. You could do anything. You could just start with a thing and it's thinking and it's going to go. You can say, hey, prepare me a slide for latest news or something, and it's going to go prepare this or prepare an image or prepare whatever. Like it's pretty smart that way. So as you can see here, now it started building your presentation, and it's setting up, it's thinking, it's designing each slide meticulously based on thinking, based on the content, and of course your idea that you gave, right? So let's see, in hopefully very soon you should start to see at least one of the slides show up. There you go. Okay, so as you can see, it has started thinking about what it's going to do. What are the colors? What is the structure? What are the, items that it needs to either place or, show? And as you can see, this is your slide based on the template that you gave it. So let's give it a couple of seconds. Hopefully this can finish and you can see the whole thing. Another thing that is beautiful about this is you can chat within a chat, right? So you're in this phase, like, hey, I don't like slide number 10, or sometimes you don't even have to tell it, right? You can just say, hey, I see that something is broken, or I don't like this slide, the image is bad, or whatever, and it can update. So I'll show you a little bit later a slide that this morning I went ahead and kind of played around to say, okay, prepare me one. It prepared in completely separate template, and then I gave it a completely separate template and said, hey, just turn everything into this one. And it really did. So we make over 35,000 decisions. Like this is the team, why we win, traction and roadmap, the ask and the funding. Now, of course, this is a little bit of constricted view, so you can open it up, and this is what your slides look like. Look at the TAM SAM, revenue, why we win, make decision makers, and yeah. Cool thing, you can also host it. So just let's say I hosted this, and now it's up there as well. So just within a few seconds, you can just host this thing very easily. And again, as I mentioned, this is your chat interface. So feel free to, if you have versioning system, you can go back and forth, no problem. Just keep going and publishing, unpublishing, share. So that's what slides were, right? So we finished this one. And here you can see everything, what you have produced from your chat, right? So you can see ideas, slides, some actions in this case, right? So you can see, so we saw the website action. So if I wanted to build the website, do the same thing. Let's see, what did our, so that's DeepSeek. Okay, so that's Quen, that's DeepSeek. And really good information. This one we didn't do, this one we didn't do. This is Google. So as you can see, it has built a really, comprehensive overview of your system. And this is all dynamic, right? So as you develop the things and it learns more stuff, it'll update, or you can ask it to update. As I mentioned, you can do same things. Website, you can create a whole website. Just in this case, it's saying best practices for AI startup websites. So it's not only looking at, let me just build it. It's also looking what you are making in, figuring out what it needs to do. And again, it's asking the same way, right? So I don't know, maybe I'll pick this one. And it goes ahead and again builds it. Again, it might take a few minutes, a couple of minutes. And let's see, while that does it, we'll just open it up in a new thing. And let's look at slide. If we go to process, it took about 3 minutes for these slides. Okay, so it figured out everything and it built 3 sites. Thank you. So again, the whole point here is that it doesn't matter what your idea is. You can just go ahead and build it, chat with it just like your co-founder or anything else, and it's going to, adapt to your taste, adapt to your idea, and you could have multiple ideas. So as I said here, you go in, of course there are other ideas, but you can also look at just your ideas, right? And this is the one that we just made, right? And it's medium potential, high competition, there is some growth. If I look at here, you can see why it thinks it has growth, market size, growth here, all that stuff. So again, it's pretty comprehensive. Let me show you guys some examples of things that it had made. So this is the site it made. So let me refresh it so you can see. So that's and this is one shot, didn't change anything here. Again, same thing for some style related websites. this is infographic. We haven't seen it, but again, you could just click on one of the actions to create an infographic, and it'll create like an infographic for you to kind of share with somebody who is basically wanting to see it. Again, this is another one that one of our teammates made. This is the one, similar one. Brutalism, as you can see, I was playing around with different concepts here. I wanted to show you guys, let's see. Only if I can find it. Okay, yeah, all right. So as you can see, this is the slide that I was talking about. It created this based on the template I picked. Pretty good. I didn't like this one, the last slide. Not bad, not good. So I told it, like, hey, roadmap slide looks bad. Please go fix it. So I went ahead and fixed it. Better, but I would rather have some blocks timeline. So it went ahead and made one. So as you can see, these are the different versions. Oh, sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said, I guess image one was better. Let's create a new image. So then it created the image version of it. And at some point, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just make a new one, like based on this. Just use this style and redesign all the slides. So it is smart enough. It's like, hey, I made you one slide. So I think probably this one, yeah. So this is the kind of one that it came up with. So I'm like, okay, this looks good, but he's like, do you want to continue on the rest of it? So then it made a couple of slides. So that's this version. So you'll see like the first, actually this one is the one, and then I said make a couple of ones. Yeah, so this is the one. So it's number 7. You will see 1 and 2 changed. And it's like, okay, are you good? Then I can do the rest of them. I said, yes, I'm good, do the rest of them. And that's version 8. And that's what it changed it to. Again, completely revamped the whole thing fully. And again, if you don't like it, just tell it. And it will figure out what you need, what it needs to do. So yeah, again, it's a pretty powerful platform. We hope that, as our goal is to go from left towards right, as you making, innovation very easy and democratizing it so that all of us as humans can, rise up together, right? And so this platform is really an attempt to make that dream possible. And this is, again, today, thank you for coming in. This is the first time somebody outside of ConceptCraft is seeing this, apart from our early customers. So, we are looking forward to launching this in public very, very soon. But whoever is here, please sign up. There are free credits, so you should be able to play around. One idea, a couple of documents, depending on what complexity you go. So you should be able to give a test of it. Everybody who signs up today, we'll remove them from the wait list, so you guys will be fast-tracked. So please sign up. And now I want to have some questions.
Cool, thank you so much. Yes, giving the mic. Yeah, we are very privileged to be able to try prior to the product launch. So we wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
When will be the launch, actually?
We are targeting hopefully next week. We're just ironing out some rough edges, but we are hoping next week is around Thursday-ish is when we're targeting.
Great, really happy to hear that. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was super awesome. I'm curious what happens once you're considering to export like the presentation or whatever you generate. So I love that you have a link to the slides, but I imagine it could be super easy for me to just like click a button and have it set up as a Canva deck all of a sudden, and I can make these minor edits myself rather than going back and forth.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Okay. Sorry. All right, so as you can see here, you see this tools section, okay? So here, I'm not sure if you have heard about it, but so for example, see here, this is the MCP server. It's a little bit technical jargon, but think of it, MCP as something that allows you to interact with other systems. Okay, so in this case, it's Perplexity. I said, So let's take a look at server. This is my existing server. So all right. You can see why you're not launched yet. But you can see I'm connected to Perplexity, right? And what does that mean? I have given my API key to it, and that's it. I don't need to do much, right? I close it, and pretty much I can say search Perplexity. Similarly, you would do that for Canva. You'll just bring in Canva integration to the MCP servers. You can search and put in search Perplexity for latest news or something like that, right? And as soon as you do that, you can see it's executing search on Perplexity. It's going to bring in some information, and voila, right? And again, we can export this to and create a spreadsheet as well. So you can say, hey, put this into a spreadsheet, and you can prepare all sorts of documents, and all the rich attributions that you saw in the analysis, those are also available for all the other documents. So any document that you can produce just a simple version or the annotated version where everything is linked to some kind of factual data that is inside your library or found using these tools like Perplexity or anything. So in this case, for example, I could go in that idea, and let's say I'm a developer, right? Or you have a developer on your team. You can just say, hey, just plug in your database key, Neon database or whatever online database is there, and say, okay, go create database tables. Go create sample data. Go create this. And pretty soon, we will have the apps creation as well. So that's very soon coming as well. And as I said, we're going from left to right, and we hope that we can continue this journey as advancements in LLM happen. Did that answer your question? Yeah, so you would just plug in Canva and say, hey, make this and export that into Canva. You don't even have to know anything. You just say export to Canva and it'll do whatever it needs to do because it knows what Canva has and it'll call it intelligently. For example, Notion, you could literally say, put this in Notion, all you need is a Notion API key, put it in, it will create a document in Notion in the space that you want. It might even ask you, hey, what space do you want? Do you have these 10? And that's the beauty of MCP. It's really powerful. So, all the integration hell that we actually did go through in our V1 version of product is now simplified. You're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was wondering, with the AI giving you ideas and users being able to push back, how did you design your feedback loop so that it actually pushes your idea to be better instead of going back and forth in circles? And does your AI start fresh from every project, or does it actually learn from each of these?
Okay, great question. To answer your first question, yes. Everybody here, if I ask everybody to make a single idea and I give the same idea to everyone, everybody will have a different perspective. That was the drawback with our first product. It's like everybody was like, yeah, this is 90% of the way there, but not there, right? And so what this allows you to do is allows you to zoom in and zoom out as much as you want, right? You can also, in the middle of it, tell it, hey, go research some more. I'm not satisfied right now. Don't create the analysis right now, right? So it's really up to you, and we are not the guardians of it. You decide how much in and out. You can even, again, as I said, you can go Perplexity, you can go Chat, like you can use whatever tools are available, bring the data in, or use MCP to bring the data in, and you will be fine. Regarding the second question about personalization, as you can see here on the left side, there is personalization tab where you can bring in the information as part of onboarding. When you sign up, you will see that it tries to learn a little bit about you, right? But it also knows more things, not only about you as you start building this, but also the data that you might bring in to start off with, right? So what we call it as libraries, right? You might have libraries of things that, I was working on this before I found ConceptCraft. Here are my slide deck, here is my this and that. And you can go in libraries, upload all of that, and it's available for you to use, and platform is smart enough to call when needed the right piece of information.
Hey, Amish, this is awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
Kudos to you, man. This is amazing. I already signed up, so I'm excited.
You will be off the wait list very soon.
Right? My question is more on the data privacy and legal rights of these ideas. So, like, I come through this and I actually get through something. let's say that I like what I'm trying to make, and somehow this gets traction and gets into a business idea and all that. Have you already figured out all the legal components on the IP related to ideas crafted by ConceptCraft? That's one question. Other question I have also is related to the AIs that you're using, like DeepSeek and GPT and all of that. DeepSeek, China, right? Are you using your own model? Like, are you running those models inside your software, or is there any data being exchanged with all those different AIs? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So you can go through terms and services. We specify that anything that you create, as long as it's legal and as long as something that you own the rights to, it's all yours. We don't own anything. We are not in the business of owning anything. Second thing, I mean, anybody can build anything. Once you see something, that's it. Like, you could build it unless it's like a patent protected thing, at which point, of course, you need legal rights or licensing to achieve that. And platform actually tells you, one of the customers tried to build a plush toy business, and what platform told him is like, great, you can build it, but getting a license to operate that is extremely tough. Like Disney and those guys will not give you action figures licensing, right? So it's one of those things where, you have to make the call on what, and the platform can help you get that information, right? But as I said, we don't, terms and conditions say we don't own anything that's yours. As long as it's something that you own before you put that in the system, anything that produce out of it is yours. Second question, models. Yes, we try to use everything that is onshore here. We are still trying to figure out the GDPR stuff for external. I think there is some work that is going on in terms of compliance, but that should be done very soon. So whatever you have currently is pretty secured in terms of the idea and the way we use it, but there is some more work to do there, as always.
Thank you, Amish. Good luck.
Thank you.
I have one more question, and then we'll go to the next speaker. Or
hey, Amish, I was the guy who clapped, so
Thank you. Thank you
great,
for getting
great
started.
presentation, and really love the product so far. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think going from an idea to a presentation to a website is just absolutely fantastic that you can now do it in minutes. You said 3 minutes. That's pretty awesome. My concern with a product like this is there are a lot of bad ideas in the world, and to really arrive and build something that people want, you actually have to go out and start talking to your customers and build your thesis. I left my job at Apple as an AI engineer. At Google, we are out here in search of an idea. So how can this product help us validate our thesis when I believe for most of the things that we type in there, it will probably give us a positive feedback, assuming we do basic amount of due diligence in what we are putting in there. So, and we know that most ideas don't work out in the real world. So how should I think about this product when I start to use it?
Yeah, great question. Very, very awesome question. So one of the beef I have with this product is it always tells me no go. So the reason is because it's very critical of things saying why you should not go. Sometimes it suggests me, hey, go a little bit niche. There is too much competition. There is too much this, too much that. So absolutely there is, you need to figure out where is the sweet spot. In terms of validation, as I mentioned, we are going from left to right. Very soon we're going to have other capabilities. We have all these integrations with MCP. It doesn't stop you from using any of those tools to get the feedback back into the system, right? So if you have a third-party system like some survey tester and SurveyMonkey and stuff like that, it doesn't stop you from bringing that in to bring your data in. And the beautiful thing about this platform compared to our previous platform is that it's live, right? And it adapts. So you can just bring in data and it starts adjusting, saying, oh, today we found this competitor, right? So my favorite thing is like here, go find every morning go find some new competitors that have come up on Product Hunt or these listing directories that kind of compete with us or compete with some other ideas, right? So it's one of those things that it's not, so people ask me, is it one and done? It depends on the use case, right? It could be one and done, right? You get a website, you get a slide, you're good to go, I'm good for my presentation. But the way I see it is if you're really, an entrepreneur who's trying to build something, it's live. Every day the world is changing, right? And you need to keep bringing that data in to adjust the platform to say what you're building is valid, not valid, it has changed, somebody else built it before you, what do you need to differentiate it? And that's what this platform will help. And we are adding some capabilities for, you don't see it here, but they're like agentic capabilities that we are adding. So I'm sorry, I'm running out of time here, but we can talk more after the session.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank
Amish.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's welcome Derek Chen, CEO and founder of Soleda. He will be the third speaker and the final of our night. All right. Let's give Derek a warm welcome. Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Let's see, is it working?
It is. It's always, yeah. No.
Wonderful. Hello, everybody. My name is Derek. I'm the CEO and founder of Soleda. I'm so excited today to talk to you about some really key ideas to bring us from the AI that we have today into the AI of the future that actually lives up to the promise of AI agents. And really, this is about taking us from these instruction prompting models that we are working with today, and how do we get there to the point where we get the insights from the data and that we can actually act on. And the key of this, the kind of secret, is to have AI that understands us. Okay, so let's get into it. I'd like to start by introducing Becky. Becky is a marketing director at a fast-growing startup selling sustainable dinnerware. She is trying to run a number of marketing campaigns. In this case, it's some email campaigns where she has asked her agent, please calculate the click-through rate for our Q3 emails. The agent comes back with an answer. No problem. After analyzing the data, the click-through rate is 3.2%. Okay, great. Becky takes that and then makes a decision to say the budget allocation is 25%, and I want to make a decision to boost the resources for this area to 30%. Okay, but it turns out that the calculation included transactional emails, which significantly overestimated the email effectiveness of the channel. The real click-through rate was just 1.8%. Have we experienced this with AI? They really just want to say something they like. And by that time, it's too late, right? The money is already spent, the time is already spent, the resources are already gone. So we have to ask ourselves, what happened here? Well, Becky was told that AI can handle everything, right? But instead, what she got was tools that need more hand-holding than an intern, assistants that confidently give you wrong answers, and more tasks to manage than problems actually being solved. Okay, so that's why today I'm going to be going through a little bit about balancing the expectations versus the reality of AI, introducing a solution to that through the pause framework, giving a quick demo, and then talking a little bit about the future. We're all on board here? Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so quick thing about me. The reason I really am very enthusiastic about this problem is because I actually also started out my career in marketing, where I experienced a lot of these kinds of problems myself, creating reports, dealing with messy data. I actually ended up going back to school to study conversational AI, becoming a researcher at Stanford and Columbia University, and I'm currently building a company to make useful AI agents that can actually realistically tackle these kinds of problems. So, part one, expectations versus reality. What we want to go through then is to understand, like, where does this disconnect come from? What are the major reasons that we aren't capturing the full value of AI? Well, maybe a quick question. Who here feels a pressure to learn how they can use AI? Who here feels like, oh yeah, this is something that everyone keeps telling me I need to know about? Right, so that's a lot of folks. Right now, we're deep into the AI hype cycle, where we're told that we can have effortless marketing analytics without lifting a finger. We can get actionable insights through magic. Things will automatically happen without any work on our part. But we've all tried these tools already, right? We know that there's a lot of pressure to use these things, but oftentimes the outputs are fairly generic and the insights that we get are pretty obvious. And then on top of all of that, there's very high inconsistency, so we don't know if we can actually rely on these for our real life jobs. So what has happened then is that there's a lot of FOMO that's driving all of this pressure to adopt AI at any cost. And you guys aren't alone, Becky's not alone. 83% of companies report that AI is critical to their success and is regarded as a top priority. In addition, 78% of organizations are actively using AI within their business and plan to increase spending. But at the same time, only 1% of respondents believe they've actually gotten value out of this. Only 1% believe that there's mature AI implementation within their companies, with nearly half of the people trying something last year and then abandoning it. So what do? The first piece then is that the reason we're not capturing the value is that the bar is just set too high. We're told that there's magic, but AI is still really just a tool at this moment, and we need to reset that just a little bit to something that's more tangible and concrete. Okay, reason number 2. Okay, is anyone here working with 5 or more marketing tools each week, or just lots of SaaS tools? Yep, okay, great, lots of hands again. Well, that's not surprising, because if you do work in marketing, then you probably start out with something like Google Ads. Yeah, we got to do our Google Ads to get our message out there. We probably use something like Facebook or LinkedIn to get more audiences. We can't forget about email. We also have our web analytics to track our users there. We also go on to maybe some marketing automation tools, so on and so forth. Right, the field is just crowded. We already saw the other market maps from some of the other folks as well. And so the amount of tools is actually fairly complex. The process that we go through is also pretty complex. It sounds like we just got to connect all these different sources and get our answers, but that's not true. When we look at the actual data that we get, it turns out that we have phone numbers, but these phone numbers aren't formatted correctly, and they need a little bit of cleaning. When we look at the different types of information, companies, that also has some inconsistencies. And we also have blanks and things that need to be filled in. So just so on and so forth, all sorts of messy data when you're dealing with real life. So the second part of this is that we need to clean and transform the values for analysis. Even when you're done with that, it's still not done. You still have to join it all together in order to make sense of it into a single table of some sort that you can actually query. Then you still have tons of metrics, right? These are all the things that we're learning, all the acronyms and all the pieces that are coming up that are new. Now there's this new like geo term, which I'm sure people have heard of. And so that's like the new form of SEO. And only then, and maybe then, can you actually maybe find some insights as you analyze and uncover all of these pieces. One last difficulty is that even if you had some sort of agent that was able to do some sort of basic text to SQL, that's not really enough if we don't take our business context into account. So let's say that we give an instruction to calculate conversion rate, but this actually quickly branches out. Like, what counts as a conversion? Is it a purchase or a sign up? What if it was a free? Does that count as a conversion? Is it per user or per order? Is it repeat? What are the time boundaries? What is the attribution method? How do we handle refunds? Does that count? Existing buyers, like upsells, are those conversions? Blah, 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 blah. The point is that every company's conversion rate is calculated slightly differently. And the generic AI can't know yours off the bat, right? We need a little bit of a different paradigm in order to tackle these kinds of situations. So the second point then of why we're not really achieving full AI is that marketing analytics and your jobs are much more complicated than it seems. It's not like you can really just replace someone overnight. Okay, third point, last question. How many of you double check your AI's work? There you go. So all of us use AI somewhere, but we all have this sense that a little compelled to see what's going on before we can really trust it. And that's because models are trained to be overly sycophantic and agreeable. We've already seen this before. And hallucinations, even today with the best LLMs, remain an unsolved problem. And basically that means we have to have a human in the loop to verify even pretty basic results. And we would like to move from a world where instead of a black box, we have a glass box, a transparent box, something where we know what's going on behind the scenes. But what we have to work with today is just this idea of trust without transparency, and that's just blind faith. So now we see then that current AI tools have a tendency to rush to their answers, they hide their logic, and they always act confident. But maybe what we're really looking for are partners who ask before making assumptions, they show their reasoning, and they flag potential issues. And this way, we can have useful AI agents, and they become useful because they have their own point of view. They might actually push back on you, and that's not a bad thing, because that's the only way that they can actually ask questions when something doesn't seem right. They have their theory of mind of what you want and can actually help you push towards that goal. And so when we looked at our earlier scenario, there was a tool. The tool gave an answer, but a partner would have asked a question. Okay, so now we see then that the third reason is that current AI acts as a tool rather than a partner. And so how do we design AI agents that do actually solve this? This then gets into part 2, the pause framework. Okay, before we get into the framework itself, maybe we'll ask ourselves just kind of some background information about what makes a great agent. Like, let's just dream for a second what an ideal AI agent would look like. What sort of work would they actually help us with? How would we interact with them when something is unclear? How might our relationship evolve with them over time? Well, we don't have to be too theoretical about this because we actually already interact with things that are agents. They're called other people. We already have coworkers that we interact with all the time. So we just have to ask ourselves, what do we want from a good coworker, right? The existing partnerships are people who do the dirty work when it comes to data or any other tasks that we have to do. They're just willing to dig into the details. I think it's really important and frankly missing today that when we work with agents, it should really be a two-way conversation. They shouldn't just be following instructions. They should be willing to push back every once in a while when something doesn't make sense. And part of that means asking for clarification. And they should clarify if and only if something is unclear. And maybe even more magical is that the humans, as we expect today, when we train an intern or train an associate, they're going to learn about that over time. They're going to learn about your business, your context, your preferences. Agents don't really do that today, right? So I'd like to introduce Dana. This is the first version of what we're trying to build at Soleda. Dana is an AI agent that does importing data, rebuilding missing data, cleaning your data, standardizing data, deduplicating data, so on and so forth. But what I really want to emphasize is really just the ideas today, is that Dana knows how to pause before acting. So what does it mean to pause? Pause breaks down to 5 pieces, right? P-A-U-S-E. Perceive is to look beyond the words of what's being said, beyond the instructions, and to really try to understand what is the user's real intention. A is for assess. A good agent should be able to assess the confidence of their situation and of their understanding and of their uncertainty to know, should I be doing something more or can I just move forward? To understand is to clarify when it matters. If I do have uncertainty, then I should ask a question. If I actually know what's going on, then I should just move forward. And then even when you do have an answer, you should try to suggest, which is to guide instead of dictate. And finally, when all is said and done, a good agent isn't just a black box. It should also be able to explain by building trust through transparency, explaining what it's done. So let's dig into each of these a little bit further. To perceive is really to read between the lines. It's looking beyond the instructions to consider the user's underlying intent and to understand what are they really trying to achieve. On a very concrete level, because we're working with data and spreadsheets and marketing analytics, it might mean things like gathering context from table names, column headers, user preferences, conversation history. And it will do all of this to try to find potential issues before they actually occur. So sort of the example here is, oh, how many active contacts do we have? Well, based on the actual columns, I might actually ask a clarification because there could be confusion to define what does active mean in this sense. And that was only discovered by perceiving. In more detail, assess is looking at the confidence levels to guide the action. We want to really determine if we have enough information to proceed with the request. So I have to look at things like the data quality or the user intent, or if there's other missing information before I can decide, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this action. Right now, if you type something into your favorite LLM provider, within seconds, it shoots off and gives you something. Is it correct? Who knows? Most of the time, yes, but a lot of the time, not quite. And it's not taking that time to actually assess, like, does it have all the information? So what should it do? It should try to understand. It should have intelligent clarification when needed. And so in this case, if we ask something like, where do our sales come from? Then the AI agent can understand what's going on based on the user input. And maybe if there's some uncertainty, such as, oh, do we care about first touch attribution or last touch attribution? I need to be able to clarify that before I actually move forward. Importantly, it shouldn't be this other trivial thing too, which I've seen some people start to do now, which is they just always clarify. That just starts to become annoying. Next is to suggest. We really believe in empowerment, not prescription. And so we want to start with sensible defaults, so that way we don't have to ask all the time. But when there are multiple viable paths available, we want to empower the user to choose rather than making blind assumptions. So kind of the example here is that there are some items that need to be cleaned up, and we kind of give the user the chance to be able to choose which one makes sense for them. Finally, explain. We want to enable the inspection of results to build confidence in the agent's actions. This might mean showing the steps that were taken, explaining kind of like what was changed, what had happened, and ultimately this helps to complete the loop in building a shared understanding of the context and full situation. Because this is kind of what we expect from our coworkers, right? Like, we don't just want something that follows instructions, we want someone who works with us, which really means it's a partner that pauses. Okay, the next piece here is seeing is believing. I'm gonna try to move into like a demo portion. It's gonna be a little bit tricky here, so bear with me for a second. Let's see. Hopefully this will kind of work. It's loading some data, but is it? Okay, there you go. Okay. Okay, great. So we have a table here with HubSpot, MailChimp, Salesforce, Zendesk, and then I might say like, how big is the HubSpot table? Okay, so what we really want to call out is just like, this is a typical HubSpot CRM type table. There's information about users, first-time visits, company size, and we've actually built like this custom, frankly, whole spreadsheet to actually be able to have the agent and the spreadsheet work together. And there you go. So HubSpot contains 1,715 rows. Let's go take a look at MailChimp. We might ask a similar question, so cool. And what about MailChimp? Yeah, so even though I haven't referenced exactly what the question was, hopefully based on context, Dana can already figure out without asking for too much clarification about what I want, which is how big is the MailChimp table. And in this case, yep, okay, that did work. MailChimp contains 722 rows. And then let's do a little bit of cleaning as well. That's the real work. So with the campaign launch date, we can look, we can see that the formatting of some of this is not quite right. These are a little bit different. So maybe that's something that we can kind of take care of. And so let's say, can we fix the format of the campaign launch date to year. I think it's month, day, and then let Dana go after it. So if we scroll over here, we'll see that this is the one that was incorrect. One of the examples of the ones that was incorrect. And it should be straightforward, so this one doesn't necessarily have to have clarification. And there you go, it is now formatted correctly. If we move over to 4 rows here for the campaign launch date, if we move over to, I think is it campaign name? No, I think it's, the email. So the email also has a lot of messy data here, right? So there's things that are capitalized, there's spaces, there's things that like just aren't quite there. So maybe we want to clean this up as well. Awesome. Yeah. And can we standardize? Yeah, standardize the format of the emails to be correct as well. Yeah, that should work. So this also should be fairly straightforward. Hopefully Dana doesn't push back too much at this point. Dana's just thinking through about like what are the columns to use, where to look, again, doing that assessment before answering. And we know what standard formatting emails look like. And so if we just wait a second, this should go ahead and update itself into, yep, there you go, cleanly formatted emails. There you go. So 200, let's see, these are, so these are like duplicates, right? This Oliver Perry appears twice. So I noticed that there might be duplicates within MailChimp. Let's see, let's take care of those. That should work. Okay. So then, based on this then, duplicates are actually more complex than they seem, because even though they are like this, the number of columns might not all need to be aligned in order to be duplicates. So if I look at list segment, we'll see then that like this one maybe is not necessary, but in this case, if the first, last name, and email are the same, then those are what we consider duplicates. Okay, here's another extra difficulty. We might actually want to say, out of the 2 or 3 duplicates, which one do we keep? Do we look at the campaign launch date, the one that's earlier, or maybe the one that's later? Or maybe we have to look at other columns, such as an external binary column. In this case, it's the unsubscribed. If they're unsubscribed, then that's the one that we want to drop, because that's a duplicate. I think in this case, we'll just stick with the first one. This one was pretty quick. And so there's 2 duplicate rows that have been successfully removed, leaving 720 unique rows. That's the explanation. And as we can see, the Oliver Perry is working, not working, but like the one that was duplicate has been removed. So let's go to HubSpot. Maybe we'll do some cleaning there as well. And maybe a quick question, just to kind of get a sense of what's going on here, is we'll look at the source and we'll ask something like, which unique sources are our users coming from? Okay, so what's really intelligent here is that this is something where we've baked into Dana that will take proactive action in cleaning. Unbeknownst to you, but known to me, is that there are some terms within the source column that maybe should be merged together. So yeah, here, users are coming from 10 unique sources: Google Ads, LinkedIn, direct, email, organic, paid, and paid ad. Oh, these are actually like maybe the same thing. So Dana is actually really smart, figured out that I have detected some similar terms in the source column, which should be combined. And I'm planning to convert social to social media, LinkedIn to social media as well, paid to paid ad. And these I can choose, right? This is our suggestion. And yes, this looks good. And voila, now the rows have been corrected, leaving only 6 unique terms in the source column left over, also outlining and explaining the actual changes that were made. The next piece then is, in order to actually join the 2 tables together, we need to do a change. So can you split the username column into first name and last name? And the reason we need to do this is because there's actually no join key between HubSpot and MailChimp. So we're going to try to join instead by name. And even that doesn't exist. So we're going to extract that name from the username in order for Dana to actually do a fairly complex join in order for Dana to then actually help with the analysis. And so there's a lot of complexity going on here. But yeah, Dana says, I've done this. How does this look? Yep, looks pretty good. And now we're going to go into, I think, the final piece. Right. Looking at MailChimp again, we basically really want to get a sense of like, where are our emails working and not working? And so we're going to try to segment that a bit. I'm going to ask this in a slightly vague sort of way. I'm going to say, what was the engagement on July emails based on click-through rate, broken down by customer, actually company profile. Right. So that's actually not super clear because we haven't told Dana how exactly click-through rate is calculated, which columns to use. We haven't really talked about how company profile should be working, where to extract July from. And so Dana starts to think first and tries to perceive the situation. It says July email company profile. Yep, actually we're going to join these, look at the launch date to get July, and then we're going to calculate click-through rate as the ratio of clicked and opened emails. And then we're going to look at the company size as the way to look at company profile. And I think that, yep, yeah, this part of it takes a little bit of a time because there's a lot going on behind the scenes calculating the actual formula to actually figure all that stuff out. And so, yeah, Dana thinks that company profile refers specifically to company size and that we should filter for campaign names potentially beyond launch date. So yeah, just lots of things that are unclear. So this time though, Dana should ask for clarification, and there you go. Okay, so to break down click-through rate by company profile, I need to join MailChimp. Yeah, so you should use the first name and last name to join, to connect the tables together. Yeah, so that's why we created those columns, and then you can calculate click-through rate by comparing the clicks to opens. I'm going to just add that to kind of speed things up a little bit, because if I don't, it's just going to keep asking for more clarification on all the pieces that I missed. This is also going to take a little bit of time, as Dana does a lot of analyzing and thinking in the back end. And yeah, I'll calculate click-through rate as clicks divided by opens and join tables by first and last name. And then for July emails, should I filter using campaign launch date for the entire month of July 2025? Well, yeah, this part is correct. And this is good too. But actually, this last piece, it says July 2025. But if we look at the data here, it actually says 2024. So you should just actually use July 2024 yeah, from the campaign launch date in MailChimp. That way we're very clear, and hopefully we can wrap up this piece of analysis. Okay. Yeah, I think I've provided enough information where it's not going to keep asking at this point. And that's a hard one. Let me think about it. But we can see like why those questions were necessary. They weren't incredibly obvious to start out with. And so we needed to do some more work. Okay, here it is. So we have this. We say that July 24 campaigns had high click-through rate from large companies with 5,000 plus employees. Actually, maybe I want to also look at this as maybe some sort of chart. Yeah, can you show this to me as a chart sorted from smallest company size to largest? Okay. Then not only can we just get the analysis from what's going on, but we can actually also visualize this and add this to a dashboard if necessary. In this case, it's going to be a pretty standard bar chart, I believe. Okay, we have our query, it's sorted, and boom. Okay, so now we have our answer. It goes from 10 up to the 5,000 plus. As we can see, the 5,000 plus is big. One last thing I want to show you is this ability to actually see the code. This is that ability to actually explain what's going on. And yeah, I think that's the main piece. We can look at how it was actually joined. It used the first and last name as necessary. And that's the major part of the demo.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay.
I know you still have the last part. Let's wrap it up quite fast because then we have the open mic. And of course, we will be able to mingle during the networking session. I want you guys to have time to mingle. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Okay, last section, very quick. Yeah, so what does it look like into the future? What we really saw was that Dana didn't just clean data. Dana asked clarifying questions, understood ambiguous intent, caught potential issues, showed her reasoning, and provided insightful analysis. And in doing so, we're able to trust our AI partner, and that allows humans to focus on what they do best. I think as we move into the future, I'm really excited about things like a persistent memory layer. I know we're running low on time, so I'm going to kind of skip through this quickly. The kind of core idea here is that, we kind of mentioned this before, we want Dana to actually learn our user preferences through normal interactions, rather than having to be something that we explicitly talk about. Something that we can really come back to over time and really just improves by itself. Another really exciting feature is proactive protection, right? Being able to and call things out before they actually occur. Maybe even giving us root cause analysis that automatically drills down into various dimensions of our data without us having to ask for it. And ultimately, what we're really trying to do is build a bridge to the future. Today, what we already showed you is a pretty useful tool. It's able to extract insights accurately by understanding before taking action. What we're moving towards soon, though, is an AI copilot that remembers preferences and anticipates needs for automatic execution. And what we really want to see is the true dream of AI agents come through. And that's having a strategic ally. It's something that catches your issues before they hurt and predicts what you need to know. All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to give the mic to one person and then jump into the open mic session. Does everyone has a question? Okay, one question.
Thanks, really enjoyed the beginning part of the presentation, grounding us all again. I guess I'll just ask the weird question, which is, agents, humans, loops, like how does this all keep the organization from just being completely dysfunctional and doing each other's jobs? So like if I can be, right, for example, like I work with my MOPS person on these reports, he gets fired if it's wrong, right? Like if I have an agent doing part of his job or he doesn't work there anymore, like how does it work where everybody can do everybody's job? I'm just curious if, your philosophy around that.
I think my philosophy around that is we should just expect the same thing from our agents that we expect from our human collaborators. If the AI agent can't do the job, you got to fire the agent too. But the belief is that these agents are supposed to be smarter and smarter over time. And so as we get to the future where the AI agent understands our business, our context, and our situations, our pain points, that's when it's really going to be able to go above and beyond.
Thanks.
Okay, one more question. Then if someone wants to take the mic, please come close to the stage.
Hey, yeah, great presentation. I guess my question was, it was really cool to see you go through the series of questions and drilling down to like a clean database. That was neat. Could I have just asked it in theory though, clean this up for me and have it go like lead the conversation? Or is that, getting back to that last slide you shared, the next phase of your product?
Yeah, come talk to me in 1 month.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're building towards. But a lot of what we need to do first is create the building blocks about cleaning, right? If I can't even deduplicate when I tell it to deduplicate, then it can't do it all by itself. And when you pass that off to a GPT type model, it will go off and try to do it by itself. But you can't really trust that. And what I've built and what we're really trying to build towards is a world where every single piece is verifiable, every single piece is reliable. And so when you actually get a very big chain, a very big analysis, you know every single step is something that you can trust.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Derek. It was very insightful. All right. Who wants to come and take the mic for 1 minute? Present a project or share best practices, announce something? No one? Okay, come over here. Thank you. And then we will be ready to wrap up, and we'll have pizza and some soda. It's still very warm and yummy. So again, thank you so much for joining. All right. Yeah, you will queue and give the mic. It's less than 1 minute. Let's wrap it up. Let's go. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Sean with Bench Computing, and we just opened up our product into public beta. You can find it at bench.io. What Bench is, it's an AI assistant that helps knowledge workers execute your work tasks. So whether you're in marketing, sales, product design, eng, you're a founder of a company, you can just tell Bench what you want to do. And then what we do on the back end is we orchestrate the right models and tools to execute those tasks. So the early feedback that we've gotten is that it's far more thorough and versatile compared to some of the foundation models that are out there, but we'd love to substantiate that at a larger scale. So if you wouldn't mind giving it a try, it's bench.io. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about it, we'll be in the back and we'd love to chat with you. Thanks.
All right, hi. I'm Siddhant and I'm building Vinci, an AI platform that enables marketers to create winning video campaigns. And that includes creating the videos themselves and then being able to publish and distribute the content, right? So we know for a fact that a lot of marketers want to move on from video agencies and be able to deliver a lot of their video content with AI, but are being stopped by a lot of AI slop, right? We are trying to solve for that by being able to realistically generate videos that you can publish as a brand. So if you're a marketer or a founder who has video marketing use cases, would love to chat offline, we are open for early access on tryvinci.com. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Naisha. I'm a rising junior at Penn State, and I'm in San Francisco for the summer, and I'm really looking to gain some real-world experience. I have experience in social media marketing and growth media marketing, so I'm really looking forward to learn something from all of you. So come talk to me. Thank you.
I'm working on a startup called fullpilot.com, and it's basically AI agents for sales and marketing. So basically like being able to like laser in on exactly the prospects that you're looking for. So you can use like all kinds of APIs like Apollo's API to actually go in and find those exact prospects and then actually reason about them to know that they might be a good fit. And so like, for example, if you're a real estate company and you want to find a business that their lease is about to end, you could kind of create data and find those exact prospects. So it's just fullpilot.com, and you can sign up and join the wait list. I'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Raghav, and this is Ayush. We are building PriceDropHero.com. So we are trying to solve this problem of buyer's remorse. So a lot of us, many times we spend a lot of time, and we sort of like buy a product and the price drops after a while. And then we're like, oh, we just paid an extra 100 or 150 bucks. I recently bought a Bose soundbar. It was for $600. Then there was a discount, there was a sale, and it was $150 lower. Many of the retailers are actually doing price match. So you get those $150 back. So that's what we're doing. We want more of our users to get money back in their wallets. So that's our vision. And yeah, we're here to actually if there's anyone who's like a pro in like the B2C world and sort of like gets the sort of like the growth marketing aspect of it, we would love to have a conversation with you all. But please try pricedrophero.com. Thank you. Say it again. What was it? Pricedrophero.com. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jacob. How many of you have used N8N or Zapier? Okay, I build an AI that can create the most sophisticated and complicated N8N workflows in 2 minutes. Go to vibeflows.app and talk to me. We are having the most amount of AI agents and MCPs, and whatever available in the world, we will host it. Thank you. Vibeflows.app.
Hi everyone, this is Selena. I am a recent graduate from Business of Analytics program, so I have a combination of background and kind of technology like AI and data, like scientist as well as the business. I've been doing GTM in content marketing with 2 startups, so I'm looking for any opportunities in the different types of company. I'm very particularly interested in startups, just to be very challenging and interesting. So reach out to me if you have any like hackathon or like trying to hire some people with the combination background or either like marketing operation or like data or like AI like developer stuff. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Nosa. So basically, we are building a platform to automate all the sales process, SDR process. So if you are a sales guy or a founder and you are tired of sending email, cold calling, etc., we got a lot of agents that take care of all of that. So just come and talk to me on that. That's it.
Thank you. What's the name of your product?
Hot prospects.
Hot prospect. Anyway, we'll have time, right, to share contacts and info. Thank you so much for joining. Come back again, and let's enjoy the pizza. Good night.